look at your brand and just kind of think, you know what, this looks really DIY. It's not really vibing. And obviously my target audience are not buying because I'm not getting those cha-chings and those sales coming through. Then you need to join our most newest challenge, the Brandathon. So we are kicking things off on the 10th of March for this brand spanking new challenge, which is going to make sure to infuse your brand with all of the good stuff to make your items seen and sold whilst you sleep and attract your target audience so you never feel like you're trying to push or market in a very sleazy way again. We want to have your brand to become a magnet to your target audience so you're making sales on autopilot all the time. If that sounds good to you, I would love for you to join the Brandathon challenge. Go to handmadebosses.com/Brandathon, or the link will be in the show notes. And I cannot wait to get your brand selling on autopilot.
The world of handmade business can be tough when trying to monetize what you love. We've got truth bombs and motivation to help you find your way through. Passion to profit, let's start today, 'cause the world needs what you create. Tune in right now, it's your shot to learn how to be a handmade boss.
Hello everyone and welcome back to How to Be a Handmade Boss podcast. So today I'm joined by Heather. Hi Heather.
Hi.
And today we're just going to have a little chat. Heather's got a coffee or a tea. I've got nothing. I've just got a water bottle. So I'm a little bit sad about that. But anyway, we'll just carry on.
The yellow box tea that I picked up because of your podcast with one of your other interviews.
The
biscuit one. Yorkshire tea, multi biscuit.
The multi one. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I haven't got any. I'm stuck with boring Earl Grey. So I'm just like drinking that up at the moment.
Earl Grey's not boring. It's just like what would you call it? A more elegant breakfast tea.
Yeah, but I'm not Bridgerton-esque. I'm more like WWF-esque. I don't know.
You don't need to be Bridgerton. Just need to lift your pinky up. That's all you need to remember. Just do that.
Like a little teapot or something.
There you go. That's it.
All right, my love. So I would love for you to tell us a little bit about you and what you do. Please plug away.
Oh my gosh, I would love to. So I'm Heather and I'm the creator of Arthur's Knitting Business. So Arthur's Knitting Business is, of course, an online retail platform for crafts, but I'm also an educational platform. So my goal is to teach people how to knit by removing that horrible misconception of knitting's just too hard. I can't do it. It's just too difficult. Any new skill is difficult. Any new skill you learn. Like think about when you last learned something new, maybe learning how to drive a car, for example. I'm not going to say how long it took me, but it took me quite a while because there were so many complexities to it. And any new skill is the exact same. So I wanted to take the confusion completely away from knitting by creating these kits, which have all the tools, materials, and different learning resources. So whether you learn best through just reading written word, through the use of diagrams, or through video tutorials, I put together kits that have everything you need to learn how to knit with minimal confusion, because there's always going to be some. But by having all those right resources straight away, you're more likely to make more progress, which was going to help your confidence massively. So that is what I do.
How do you teach? Is it through like visuals? Is it through text? Like how do you best teach that? Because I know that there's going to be a lot of people who are like, you know, people tried to teach me how to knit before and I just can't understand where your hands are supposed to go. So talk a little bit about that as well.
Oh, yeah, no, that's a brilliant question, actually. So, yeah, that's a really good one. So I teach through, I make pattern booklets myself, and all of my pattern booklets have really simple, clear to read instructions. And also I love, I can't remember if they're called analogies or metaphors. I should know that because I'm a teacher. But I use a lot of like real life examples or like imagery to help people think about how to actually use that instruction. But I appreciate not everybody learns that way. So personally, I can't learn just through reading. I have to actually physically do it. But for those people who are a bit like me, where I have to actually physically do it and I have to watch someone do it. In all of my pattern booklets, I have broken down steps and stages of the knitting process. I show you how to hold your hands, how to hold your needles, what they're all called, like where your finger should go, how you hold your yarn, like literally everything. So on paper, it is like I'm right there in front of you. But I also do free video tutorials. So all of my kits, and I want to say in my kits, I talk about, I have a squares kit where you can knit like a lot of different squares and sew them together to create lots of different products. I have mittens, I've got scarves, I've got snoods. So I've got lots of different products. But in each of these, there are video tutorials where I literally break everything down, everything from the absolute foundations of knitting, so that anybody can just pick it up and watch the video and go, right, okay, I have a better understanding. I'm not saying you're going to get it straight away, because you'll probably have to watch it a few times, and that's fine, that's normal. But you're going to have a better understanding of, now I get what this whole thing is, because no one actually explains what knitting is. Like the amount of research I did for this, the amount of YouTube videos I watched of people saying, so you take this needle and you put it through this stitch and then you do this with the yarn. And I was like, no one's actually explained why we're doing this. Like, no one said that. And that's just the teacher in me, because I am a qualified teacher, which I also feel really helps me make sure that my resources are clear and easy to follow. Because I just think about my students. I teach secondary school kids. So I'm like, right, can one of my kids follow this? And if I go, ooh, no, I need to change something. Or if I go, yeah, no, actually, I think they will, I know that I'm on the right track.
I love that. I love that. So like you're coming at it from like a different perspective apart from, because yeah, you're right. I tried to, bear with me. I tried to teach myself how to sew on a button on my coat that had like come off. It was like one of those annoying little sleeve buttons. It does nothing.
Oh yeah.
But it's just hanging out there. And it got stuck on one of those sticky tables. And as I put my arm, it kind of like off. And I tried to teach myself how to sew it back on. Buttons, I think, are really, really hard. I don't know if that's just a me thing, but when I watched a tutorial on it, it was just like, right, so we do this and we do that, and it was like no one was telling me what it was for.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was doing it, and I could understand what we were supposed to do, but in the back of my head, I was kind of like looking for shortcuts and thinking, well. Mm-hmm. Why do we do that? Why can't we just do it that way? And like at no point was that explained. So yeah, you are completely right.
Yeah, and that is it. Like, again, being a qualified teacher, you know, we are always taught you've got to scaffold your teaching so that everybody can somehow climb on. And that is the biggest thing I took away, was the fact that no one ever explains. And I'm not saying no one, because I didn't watch all of them. So sorry if you're watching this going, hold on a minute, I do that. Apologies. But the videos that I saw, no one was doing it. That's what I think makes my videos a better quality of teaching experience, because I make sure to do that. And after a while, people who watch my videos probably get a bit bored, like, oh, she's explained this already, she's said that like 5 times. Yes, there's a reason I do it. It's so that it stays in your brain, because I'm very repetitive, because you're more likely to remember if I say it like 9 or 8 times, 8 or 9 times.
Yeah. It's people used to say that you have to hear something 7 times, but now I honestly think it's more like 10 times, because it's like our attention spans are just nothing, and they've dwindled over time. So what made you fall in love with like knitting and what you sell, and kind of, I guess I'd love to learn a little bit more about how you kind of formulated it towards where it is now, because I guess it probably looked very different a couple of years ago. So like, yeah, just kind of explain a little bit more about how you fell into the knitting game, if that's even a word. And yeah, like how your business looks like it does now.
So my business isn't even a year old yet. It's going to be a year old in March, which I'm very excited for. But I learned to knit when I was a child. I always say between the ages of 8 and 9, because I can't really remember. But between the ages of 8 and 9, I learned through my mum and my aunt. And it was always like a family thing. So when they first taught me that, you know, they taught me how to just do the knit stitch. That was it. And then I would go months without doing anything. And it wasn't until we next saw my auntie who lives in Wales, and we all went down, when they'd be sat like knitting, having a natter, I would then join in with my little sticks and just like trying to copy them and give it a go. So at the very beginning, it was all about family. Like to me, knitting meant family. As soon as I saw a ball of yarn, I would instantly think of my mum and my aunt. And it wasn't until I got to my late teens, that's when I started to kind of knit on my own. Like my mum refused to teach me the first thing, which is how to cast on your stitches, which you have to know in order to actually, you know, be able to knit. And my mum always said, I'm not teaching you that because it's so stressful, and I'm really sorry, but you're not going to get it. And I was like, oh, okay. So in my late teens, I decided I'm going to teach myself this. So I bought myself a little book from, I think it was like The Works or something, for like £1.
Yeah.
And I followed the diagrams and I taught myself how to cast on. And I was like, yes, I'm away now. And from there, it just kind of, my interest in it grew massively because I enjoyed the process. I didn't really appreciate how much it affected or helped me, like regarding mental health. I didn't realize that at the time, but it wasn't until I got a lot older. Last year was when everything kind of kicked off with my business because I had to take some time off work. I had been diagnosed with postnatal depression in the January. Even though my son was a year old, it took that long to get this diagnosis to finally explain how I was feeling. And it was in that time when they said, right, you need to take time off work. You have to stop teaching. And for me, that was a massive blow because I was just like, teaching is my identity. And I always said when we decided to start a family, I was like, I want to be a mum, but I don't want to lose that part of me. And unfortunately, I did. I massively lost that part of me and I was just completely lost. So they said, look, you have to stop teaching completely and you need to take some time off. And that's what I did. And I had nothing to do because my son was in nursery. I had nothing to do at all. And I saw my little bag of knitting that I hadn't touched in months because can't really knit with a newborn because they need a lot of attention. And I threw myself into it. And do you know what? I felt so much better. I finally felt like I had this little spark back in me. And so, yeah, knitting just, I'm not going to say it saved me because that's a bit dramatic, but it massively helped me, like massively. And I really feel that people who have similar struggles or are going through similar struggles with their mental health, people who just need something to focus on. I'm not saying it's a miracle cure, but by giving your brain something else to focus on, those horrible voices in your head will get calmer, and then you'll find that you're feeling a little bit better in yourself. And that's how it helped me massively. And then I can't really remember how it happened, but I was speaking to someone and they said, oh, what have you been doing with your time? And I said, oh, I've been doing a lot of knitting. And they went, oh, I wish I could knit. And I went, well, you can. And they went, no, it's too hard. And that's it. My brain went, ooh, I could join my passion of knitting and my passion of teaching together. This could be something. And then a few weeks later, Arthur's Name Business was created.
I love it.
I know I went a bit off tangent there, sorry, but I just got into it.
I like tangents. You know me. I like tangents.
We love a tangent.
I do love a good tangent. So I think probably like from what you said, it was almost like that sense of achievement. Like once you learn how to cast off, once you like finish something, I think if you are struggling with like mental health, it is something that I think we all need. We all need that little wins every day. And I honestly do think that our world now, it really just devalues little wins of any kind.
Yeah.
And I think if you can learn how to cast off, if you can learn how to do certain stitches, if you can learn how to throw clay, if you can learn how to paint a flower, I just think it's just. And yeah, you're definitely not the first person that has said, my craft has saved me, really, because I was just kind of doing the grind, getting up, going to work, tidying up, making dinner, looking after the kiddos or the dogs or the parrots or whatever, then going to bed again and waking up and doing it again. And yeah, so from what you said, I think it sounds like the perfect journey, really, to it.
Oh yeah, it has absolutely been amazing, and it's been absolutely life-changing as well, which I never thought in a million years. If someone told me that knitting would change my life one day, I'd be like, all right, what am I going to do? Knit a really nice jumper? Like, well, I do that anyway. But oh yeah, no, it's been amazing.
What's kind of like your favorite project to date that you have done for yourself?
Oh, that is such a good question. What is I have knit myself a pair of R2D2 mittens.
Yes.
So on the back side, on your hand, it has R2D2, and then on the palm it says beep boop bop bop beep in like text going all the way up. Yeah, it was an absolute labor of love, and they are upstairs somewhere on a radiator because I got them damp the other day. But yeah, they are my proudest achievement, I think, so far, because it just took me so long to do them because it was so annoying. Because I had to put them down when you get frustrated. Put them down. I always say, if you get annoyed, put it down, have a cup of tea, come back. So I drank a lot of tea during that time.
I bet.
They annoyed me so much, but they're worth it. And the wins, as you said, It was my first project of knitting text into something. And yeah, it was the first beep boop I saw. I was like, I did that. And it was, I still remember it. I was so proud.
That's so good. Yeah, I have heard that knitting text into things is really hard. Yeah, I completely, I think that's amazing. I think that's so good. And you probably get like a shed ton of people who are like, can you make me a pair? You're like, no.
Yes, yeah, that is a thing. Once I teach workshops as well, like, you know, knitting for beginners. And the one thing I do say is like, look, guys, if you get the bug and you really start with this, as soon as you knit your own scarf, I say you're going to be getting orders. And they're like, oh, really? I'm like, oh, no. It's fun at first, but after a while, yeah, it gets a bit much.
Yeah.
So yeah, now I'm just like, no. But I do have a small list of because I love to knit socks as well. So I do have a small list of I need a pair of socks for Christmas. I'm like, yep, Christmas 2028, you're on the
list. That's brilliant. Oh, that's awesome. So, okay, within your journey then, when did you first kind of come across Handmade Bosses / me, I guess?
Oh my gosh, almost straight away, which I feel I'm really, really lucky about. I opened up in March and opened up the shop. And then I opened up an Instagram because I was like, right, how am I going to do this? I want to do it through social media. So obviously I want to have an Instagram and maybe a Facebook. So I did it. I did both in the end. And I just happened to be scrolling through Instagram one day and I saw this bright blonde, like with a feather boa and had text. I was like, what is that? And I looked, it was something about business. And I went, oh, she looks fun. And so I went onto your account and I went scrolling through your posts and I was like, oh wow, okay. I like this lady. And then I saw that you got YouTube. So I basically stalked your YouTube channel and I watched every single video straight away. Because when I first started, I went onto YouTube and I looked at, like, you know, how to open Etsy shop, what should you look out for? And the problem with going straight on YouTube and then looking at all these different coaches and different instructors is they all have different advice and they all talk differently, and sometimes you can get like 20 minutes into a video before you realize, yeah, they're just rambling, they're not actually teaching me anything. Whereas with your videos, within the first 5 minutes I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. And it was about SEO and I was like, oh my god, I need SEO, I know what that means now. So yeah, I was so lucky to have found your Instagram channel and then your YouTube. And then when you said that you were releasing a podcast, my mind blew. I was just like, oh my god, I'm going to get more wisdom every week on a Wednesday. So literally on Wednesday mornings, I would be there with my phone waiting for it to be released because it was still early days. So I wanted to learn as much as possible. And I was like, oh my gosh, what words of wisdom are they? And every Wednesday I still listen, I still wait for them, and whenever I'm driving, they're always on in my car. So I think I've listened to every episode more than 12 times now. But yeah, I love it. It's just fun to listen to. But that's how I first found you, was through Instagram in March, and then it wasn't until I then joined the Listathon, which was my first athon, which I think was in the May. I can't quite remember.
I think, yeah, like June time, I think. Yeah.
It's definitely before the summer holidays. 'Cause I remember being at school at my old teaching job, and I would be on my lunch breaks joining the lives and like posting on my creating my new listings, like doing it all like sneakily and subtly so no one would know what I was up to on my lunch break, but still I felt a bit naughty. So yeah, that's how I found you.
I love that. And thank you for listening to the podcast as well. Because the thing is with like the podcast is that it's not like YouTube where you get comments and you can kind of have a little bit of back and forth. Whereas like with a podcast, you're just like talking into the ether. And yeah. And I just think sometimes apart from those little stats that you get set, it's like I feel like podcasts are great, but you do lose that sense of, is anyone actually listening to this? Like, is this actually helpful? Is this actually... So, yeah, thank you so much.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, but I get what you mean about the comments and stuff, because I only really, not a read away, but I only really listen to it in the car because my phone links up to it straight away. And in the house, I'm always doing stuff and on the go. So in the car is the only time I can really listen. And whenever I'm like, oh, I need to put a comment. And then I stop the car and I forget. Like, my brain goes, look, you're off shopping now or go to work. So yeah, I get what you mean by YouTube.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So when did you join the HBSA is my next question.
I joined in July, or end of July, early September. So it was after the sellathon. So I made loads of inquiries during the listathon, because after the listathon had finished, and you do the, you could book in your time. So I did actually book in a slot, and I actually got you. And I remember being like, "This is actually Steph. Oh my God." I'm really excited. But I was late to our appointment. So you had to message me saying, "Look, it's been 5 minutes. If I don't hear from you in the next couple, I'm going to have to log off." Because my little boy had done a poop, and I was like, poop waits for no one. So I had to change him, and I came back. And I said to you, "I'm so sorry, but I had to change my little boy." And you were like, "It's fine. It's absolutely fine." And then we just voice noted, and you gave me a little bit more information about how the HBSA could help me as an individual and help my business grow. And at the time you did the payment plan, and I was just like, do you know what? I've only just really opened in the listathon. I've only been open a couple of months. I've still not really found my feet yet. And I very much can get obsessed with something and then ditch it quite quickly. So I was like, let's see if I can actually keep this thing going. And then by the time the sellathon came around, my sales had grown consistently from all your teachings, from like all the freebies, so from YouTube, the podcast, everything. My conversion rate was like a steady 3%. So I was like, right, I think this is time now. So when you're doing the sellathon and you're like, "Oh, we don't know if we're going to do the payment plan," I was literally like, "Please do the payment plan, please." And then when you announced, "Yeah, we're going to do the payment plan," I was like, right. So I think probably the 5th person to actually sign up as soon as the doors opened. I was like, right, this is I'm going for it. Because I'd spoken to a friend and I was like, "Do you know what? Yes, it is. You can see it as a financial investment, but at the end of the day, instead of thinking, yeah, but what if it doesn't work? Think about what if it does? And if it works, I could be doing this full time in the comfort of my own home and managing my life so much better." And because that was ultimately my goal at the time. When I started the business, I was like, I don't want to teach anymore. I want to be home with my boy, and I want to be more with my family and not take all this work home with me. And that's one of the reasons I started the business, because I thought it could be life changing. And so I made that financial commitment and I joined, and it was just the absolute best decision I could have made, like absolute best decision. I learned so much. I think I finished module 1 in the space of like 8 hours. However long it is, I literally sat and binged the entire module, because I was like, I'm going to do so well with this. And over time, I then realized it's not like an instant thing, Heather. You have to implement these things, and these things take time. But I completely plowed through everything, and now I'm slowly re-going through everything, because I've actually completed the course. I've done all the modules, and now I'm on the bonuses. Yeah. So, but I'm going back through everything because I was so eager the first time. I don't feel like I took everything in, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
From joining, I obviously did the payment plan, and I was like, all I have to do is make £79 a month from my Etsy, and I've been consistently growing, and I really feel like I can do this. And so I was. So this was in September, end of July, September, and then in October my sales grew, in November my sales grew, and then we hit December. And I was like, come on, December's going to do it. And in December, I made back the money that I would need to pay the payment plan off in that 1 month. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I know. It was amazing. So December, because it was the gift giving season, all my goals that I had written for myself were smashed. So I wrote myself a goal of just one day I want to make at least 5 sales a day. I smashed that by having 12 orders in one day, which was just amazing, absolutely amazing. I wanted my conversion to go up in 2025 up to 5%. I went up to 6, just in December. So it's now currently 2.9, but that's fine. It's February. It's not the gift giving season anymore. And then I smashed reaching my 100th sale at the beginning of December, and then eventually building up to my 200th. So it was absolutely overwhelmingly amazing. And unfortunately, I was very ill prepared. So I really didn't think my business was going to have that much of an impact at that season, because I still thought, look, I'm still new. I'm still finding my feet. As much as like the HBSA has been amazingly helpful, I still need to get that traffic through. But it was through adverts and actually search and the SEO that you taught me. People just found me straight away, and my photos, after doing the photo, like the module for all of like your branding and everything, it was just more attractive, so people picked mine. And yeah, so I ended up earning enough to pay off the entire subscription if I wanted to, but now I've got it in a savings pot. So I was like, I can either save, pay it off, or have this little bulk of money for those rainy days from when I need 2 brand new tires last month. So it's worth having. But yeah, it's the HBSA has actually genuinely been life-changing, like actually life-changing. And no, honestly, I don't think you realize how much of an impact you have on people. Like, I honestly don't think you do, because I'm not saying that I'm, massively well off and I've got a Jag and stuff on my drive, but I've gone from like literally having to count my pennies when I'm going food shopping for my family, thinking, can I get that name brand stuff, or should I go for like Asda Zone or whatever? And now I can go shopping and pick stuff up without even thinking about it. Like that's the impact this has all had on my life. And yeah, the HBSA, I just really feel if I hadn't have joined it and got all that help and the support from the community as well, the hive mind is just fantastic. And I swear some people are like, oh, she's asking questions again, because I'm always on there. But it's just been absolutely brilliant. And yeah, it's been worth absolutely every penny.
I love that. Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. Because yeah, sometimes you are just like shouting into like, and like when you do lives and stuff, like the coaching calls, I love them because it's like it's a back and forth, and like you get people there, and I love it when people ask me questions, because I'm like, oh yeah, like, let's like dig in, let's like really and yeah, no, I just like, thank you so much. I'm like completely overwhelmed by like what you said, because I'm just like, oh god, that's like so lovely to hear, just genuinely just like the actual real life impact that it has and your business has as well, because that's really important too. I think that's thank you so much. I'm like emotional. I'm just like, I don't know what to say now.
Yes, I just verbal vomit all my feelings. I'm dreadful for it.
No, thank you so much. It makes my job a lot easier asking you questions, because you answer them for me before I even get there. I think that's grand. And I think the fact that you have found that sweet spot, I think, as well, is really important. Like you say, with the rainy days of like actually having a passion, like 2 passions kind of meet. I think that's really important, and definitely something that and I think as well that some people, when they look at the course, they kind of look at the business they have now and go, oh, I don't know how I'm gonna get to that point of doing the payment plan or paying it off, or how do I know? And I think the thing with it is that it's lifetime access. So, the hard truth of it is that you might not have your business the way it looks now in like a year's time. It probably will change, but you don't have to be like, I have to do it with this particular business that I have now, because things do change. So, yeah, I guess really the message there is, if your business is not looking so hot right now, or it's stuck in that place where you want to pivot out of what you're doing, but you feel like you're worried about it, you feel like you're scared, don't think that you are stuck with the business that you have, because, everyone's changes as they move through it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like when I first thought about putting like knitting and education together, I think I said at the beginning, I started off by creating children's patterns, like beginner-friendly patterns for children's clothes. So I was designing knitwear, and I enjoyed doing it, but I think it was after finding you on Instagram when I was like, well, but you need to learn how to knit in order to do the pattern. And that's where it all kind of changed, because I thought I was going to be a knitwear designer, and I was going to be well known, and everyone's going to love my quirky style and my fun colors and my use of yarns, blah blah blah. And then I thought, well, hold on, why don't I actually teach the foundational basics of knitting, and that might do better. And whoosh, it has massively. So my kits are obviously the main focus, but I do still sell knitting patterns. I have written 3 now. Yeah, only 3, but every now and then they sell. But it's more the actually how to knits that sell a lot more. So yeah, everything changes. I think you just got to go with it. You if you go in with your mindset on just one thing, you limit yourself massively creatively. So you've got to be open to change.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, agreed. I think all of that is amazing. So I guess how different, because obviously you started in March, so how different would you say your business is now versus in kind of March, April when you first kind of started things up?
Oh, hugely. So I think it's definitely like you can see the confidence within my business now, because when I first started, I was using PowerPoint for everything. And my branding was really off. Like I was changing my logo every like 5 minutes. I was changing, my slogan stayed the same for a long time. Or my business message stayed the same for a long time. But my logo, my imagery, my fonts, everything just kept changing because I kept changing what I wanted people to see straight away. And it wasn't until I did module, I think it was module 2. No, can't remember where the branding is in which module.
2.
2, thank you. I was going to say 2. It wasn't until I did the branding in module 2 where I was finally like, oh, I feel like I've actually found who Arthur's or what Arthur's knitting business actually should look like now, like mix of color and text. But that took me ages. So I think just through that module and through the branding bits, my business definitely displays more confidence. Like it's really clear to see that I know what I'm doing. And I think that makes a massive difference for conversion as well, because as soon as you go on my Etsy page, I know I'm like, blowing my horn a little bit here, but when you go on my Etsy page, the photos have been taken really, really well, and you can really clearly see your product, which shows that, oh yeah, she kind of knows what she's doing there. It's more confident. I'm going to stick with that. It's more confident. It's clear that I am a business now, whereas before I was someone selling stuff on Etsy. Now I'm a business. It is very, very crystal clear that I am a business and I know what I'm doing with my business. So that's the difference that you can see since when it first opened in March. Because like I said, everything just kept changing. It took me ages to focus on just one color set and the logo, etc. The only thing I've changed in recent months is my business message or my slogan, as it were. Because it used to be making knitting accessible, making it affordable. And then I realized that actually affordability could be so different to so many different people. Like a £30 kit to me, yeah, that sounds reasonable, but to someone else that could actually be a huge expense. So I wanted to take affordability out of it and focus it more on like knitting itself. So I've changed it to from confusion to creation, making knitting simple, because that's exactly what I do. So I feel like it like really goes to my UPS like straight away, USP straight away.
Yeah, no, I like that. I think that rolls off the tongue for me a little bit easier as well. I think that's a really good tagline.
Yeah, a tagline, that's the word. Thank you.
I love this question. Where do you see your business in a year's time?
Oh, that is a really good question. So I had this vision of me doing being completely full-time with this business. That was my vision when I first started the business. I was like, I'm going to be a full-time business owner and creator. And because at the time I wanted to get out of teaching. I just felt I wasn't very well. I was feeling overwhelmed. I was just feeling a bit lost in myself. But now that I am a lot better, and now that I'm actually a lot happier in my teaching, I'm not ready to leave teaching just yet. So making my business full-time for me is no longer my priority, whereas at the very beginning it was, which is why I rushed through everything. But yeah, in a year's time, I'm hoping that my sales will be more consistent. I'm hoping to have a more consistent conversion rate as well, just so I can continue to live more comfortably. But also I would like to expand. So I'd like to expand my kits and what I offer. I really want to be recognizable. So I really want like the small knitting world to be like, oh, Arthur's knitting business. Oh yeah, no, they're really good. Oh yeah, no, they're trusted. Oh yeah, they're going to start you off with confidence. So I think what I need to focus on now is, but now that I've got some really good bestsellers, I need to focus on actually getting more traffic and just getting more recognition. Ultimately, I'd love to have brick and mortar, but that's like 10 years down the road. But for a year, for my business, I want it to stay consistent. 5% conversion rate, definitely, if not higher. and build on my Instagram as well, like social platforms to help get that traffic through.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's the hard bit.
Yeah. It is. Social media is a real kind of like trial and error, and also being consistent is like the number one thing. And I think, yeah, when you're not seeing results pretty quickly, it can get hard to just stay on it and keep going. It's a bit like, you know, exercising or running or I don't know, whatever else. You're not going to see results like the first 10 times you do it, but first 20 you might.
Yeah, absolutely right. Catch the 5K. Do it in small steps.
I did that once, and I
did you?
Yeah, I got really bad shin splits, and I couldn't do it again. So now I lift weights instead.
Oh, I used to love weightlifting many moons ago.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it. I've just invested in a walking pad. Game
I've
changer.
got one as well.
Oh yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, so
Half an hour in the morning. Oh, perfect. Makes the right thing.
Exactly what I do as well. It's really, really good, and it folds.
Yeah.
Mine does like a folding, and it stores upright, and you fold it down, and then you can just wheel it, and I'm just like, game changer. What is this?
Oh, yours is way more high tech. Mine is just like a giant brick on the floor. It's more of a trip hazard, but it's been amazing. I've only had it a few days, but crikey, Mikey, I actually can't wait to start school again after this half term, because every morning I'm going to be up half an hour before I go to school. I'm excited for that.
That's so energy. You can like either listen to music, watch Netflix, read a book, do some
really good podcast.
Listen to the podcast. I agree. I should plug my own stuff. I love it.
Funny enough, though, I have actually just finished your book, and I've been reading that on the walking pad as well.
Oh, I don't know how you do it, because it keeps moving, and my eyes are like, ugh, and I get car sick. So that
I like really looking down.
Really looking down.
So I'm trying to keep track of my feet as well, because I've only fallen off once.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
The rest are coming. Sorry, but they are. Yeah. So last couple of questions. What crazy but true fact is there about you?
Oh my God, I have so many. I'm going to give you two. Well, one is like a health, and one is just celebrity based. So I'm a bit of I'd say I have bad luck when it comes to my health. Nothing like really serious, but I've had pneumonia twice. I've had scarlet fever, glandular fever. Like, there was a time in my life where I was just always poorly with something like the sniffles. Nothing massive, but just the sniffles. And then a few years ago, I was feeling really, really poorly. And my mum and dad had to drive to my house and then take me to the local like out of hours A&E, because it was a Sunday. So there was something not quite right. And so I went in, and the doctor saw me, and they went, "Oh, what are your symptoms?" I said, "Oh, joint pain. I feel." And he went, Can I just check your mouth for a second?" I said, yeah. And he was like, "Did the whole open up?" Oh, and I went, "Yeah." Oh, and he went, "Oh, yeah. You've got tonsillitis, which is far, far worse in adults." And I went, "I can't have tonsillitis. I had my tonsils removed when I was 11. And he went, "Oh, yeah, no, they've grown back." And I was just like, yeah. And I literally just burst out laughing, like full on laughing, like crying laughing. And I just said to him, "I'm so sorry, but of all the people for that to happen, of course it would be me." And so when I came out, and my mum and dad were like, "What's that? Are you laughing?" I said, "Yeah." "What on earth would you be laughing?" I went, "I have tonsillitis." And my mum and dad just looked at me and went, "But you can't have. You had your tonsils removed." I went, "They've grown back." And then my mum and dad both literally bent over, started laughing, because they were like, "Only you." I was like, "Yep, only me." So yeah, that's my medical marvel, or medical crazy story. My other crazy story was I used to live and work in a palace. Sounds very grand. There's a lovely palace called Blenheim Palace in Woodstock, and I used to both live and work there. And I was working in the ice cream parlour, and at the time, and they were filming Gulliver's Travels, starring an amazing actor called Jack Black, who I happen to quite like. And so I was scooping an ice cream, massive long queue, summer day, and then all of a sudden I could hear music. And I look up, and it's Jack Black with his ukulele serenading someone. It gets better, because I look up, and the person he's serenading is my mum. And so I'm mid-scoop going, and then my mum goes, "Oh, that's my daughter. Hi." And I was like, "Hi." And then Jack Black goes, "Oh, hey." And I was like, "Ah." It was just the funniest moment. But yeah, two crazy little things.
Oh, that's amazing. Blenheim Palace, we've been there a couple of times actually, and yeah, it's really, really nice.
Oh
I
yeah,
really
it's
like
lovely.
big, like the grand entrance way. It's just like,
Mm.
oh, then you go in and it's like, now I'm lost.
Yeah, no, literally, yeah. I even though when I lived there, which sounds like a huge brag, I lived in the grounds and it's my dad's worked there. I also got married there. I feel like that should have been my crazy fact, actually. I got married at Blenheim Palace. So
That is
yeah,
amazing.
yeah, yeah. Maybe I should have led with that. I don't know. Like I said, I've got loads. Just things just happen to me. I'm blessed, but also very bad luck.
Yeah, I mean, your tonsils growing back. I think you're the first person I've ever spoken to where they've
Yeah, I
grown
know.
back.
I
Oh, that's
know.
amazing.
Oh, never
Wow.
mind.
You've got like nuclear neck.
I honestly don't know what it was. Yeah, I did ask. I was like, look, how can this happen? And they went, oh, sometimes it just happens. And I was like, right, okay. I did actually go and buy a lottery ticket that afternoon. So I was like, something's got to give with this. And not only did I lose, but I then lost a £5 note that I dropped somewhere in my travels. So I was like, right, got
Uh,
my travels back and I'm out of fiver. It's not a good day.
that's definitely order and watch some like Netflix and just wait for it all to blow over.
Oh, yeah, I got a lot of Ben and Jerry's. A
Yeah.
lot of Ben and Jerry's.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Nice.
I love it. I love it. Last question then. What's your one piece of advice that you would give to you a year ago?
Oh, just go for it. Believe in yourself. Just do it. Like that was just go for it. Don't worry about what people think. I was really scared to tell my friends and family when I first started the business. I was really scared to say, "Oh, I'm doing this," because I thought it would be like, "Oh, Heather's doing this again." Because, like I said earlier, I do have a tendency to get really obsessed with something and then I ditch it within a couple of weeks or a few weeks. The fact that we're now coming up to a year of Arthur's knitting business is absolutely immense. Like, I'm so proud, and it's been lovely to see everybody else being proud for me. But yeah, a year ago, I would just say to myself, look, just go for it, and also just trust yourself. Because at the beginning, it was very much like, oh, should I, should I not, should I? Just go for it. The worst thing that will happen is, you'll be wrong. You won't make a sale for a while. If that's the worst thing that can happen at that point, just try. Like, I would rather try and fail miserably 1,000 times, because then I've learned 1,000 different ways of how not to do something. So yeah, that's what I tell myself. Just go for it. Just believe in yourself and just go for it. Because the worst thing you'll be is wrong.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I think that's a really great way to put it. And a lot of people like I guess like a follow-up question then is, what would you say to someone who, I mean, obviously afraid of failing is one thing, but what would you say to someone who's afraid of succeeding and having too much too quickly?
That is a really good question. What does this one say about succeeding? Um, oh, I don't really know, to be honest. That's such a good question. Succeeding. Have things that ground you, maybe, like have things that remind you as to why you were doing this in the first place, and maybe don't be afraid to do so well, because at the end of the day, if you do really, really well and then you end up making so much money that you're like, I don't know what to do with, pop it to one side, don't let it fill your bank account, forget it's there for a moment, and just stay real to yourself. That is a really good question. I've not even thought about that. It never even popped on my radar. What happens if I'd be too successful? Oh my God. But
It's
then, oh no, in a way that did happen in December.
Yeah.
Keep yourself well stocked. That's what I'm going to say. Because in December, even though it was an amazing month, I was not prepared in the least.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to buy a lot of stuff that was not wholesale. So I didn't actually make as much as I could have because of that. But yeah, don't be afraid to succeed. Just keep yourself well stocked. Get everything there, because you'll sell it eventually.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Well done, you. That's just such good advice. So I want you to plug away. Where can people find you? What's your latest offer? Like, tell everybody listening where they can find more out about you and your business. Plug.
Oh, fantastic. So it is Arthur's Knitting Business. Now, I do have my own website, which is literally arthursknittingbusiness.co.uk. My email is heather@arthursknittingbusiness.co.uk as well. And for Etsy, we have to be called Arthur_knitting, because we couldn't have the whole title. And Instagram, I'm Also Arthurs_knitting_business, because I could have that full title. So that's where I am. Best to find me via my website, so you can actually email me directly, because then I get them far quicker than with Etsy. And yeah, what I do is I help people learn to knit by providing resources, all the resources, tools, materials you'll need to have a confident start to actually learning the new skill. Because if you can start with confidence, you are far more likely to stick to it rather than just give it a go and then jack it all in. But yeah, that's where I can be found.
Agreed. Oh, Heather, thank you so much. It's literally been like talking to like someone you've known for years. So I love it. I love it. I think this has been amazing, and thank you so much for giving like such honest insight into your journey and kind of what you've been up to and all that good stuff. Thank you so much.
Not a problem at all.
Yay. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening and watching, if you are watching this, depending on where this goes out to. Don't forget to check out, I'm going to pop the links to Heather's stuff below as well in the show notes, just so it's there and you can find it. But for now, thank you for listening, and I will see you next week. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to How to Be a Handmade Boss. And if you're eager to boost your Etsy sales within just 7 days, then be sure to join my most popular free training at handmadebosses.com/conversion. You can also find the link in the show notes as well. Keep an eye out for our next episode, where we'll be continuing our journey towards handmade business success together. And until then, keep crafting and stay inspired, because the world really does need those special creations that only you can make.